Les livres qui?
Qui me plaisent.
Perfect, okay. I'm only in charge, everybody. Okay, les livres qui me plaisent. The books, the boy he liked.
Le garçon.
Notice I was very politically correct there. Could have said, yeah, the boy he liked.
Qu'il aime.
That he liked.
Qu'il aimait. Oh.
Good, yeah, and you could have gone qu'il aimait or qu'il a aimé because it's kind of like a boy he liked, as in
yes.
He went out and he saw that boy, and as an action that you're summing up in one activity. Oh yeah, he went out, he went into a bar, he saw a guy he liked, okay? Do me the boy who pleased him, using the verb plaire, past tense of which is plu. So if you've gone into the past, you've gone into pleased, and you're talking about it like an action. So rather than thinking 1, 2, 3 now, because 1, 2, 3 is a bit obsolete because we've obviously got sort of, other things coming in the way now at your level of French. What's the one characteristic that we have in an action past? What goes in the middle that we really need to think about in the middle of an action past?
The auxiliary verb.
Spot on. The auxiliary verb. Also, bearing in mind all the work we've done about je me suis and all of that junk, although I always say auxiliaries can be be or have, if we're doing something to someone else, is it going to be be or have? It's going to be... Which one's it going to be?
Have.
Have. Because it's... Anytime it's going to be is either going to be one of the movement verbs, and it clearly isn't because you will be putting someone else with that, or it's going to be one of the reflexive arrangements like je me suis lavé or vous vous êtes parlé. So if we're automatically hunting for this in our mind, like, I saw you or I showed them, what I call the bits and the verbs, I, him, showed, rather than thinking, I had a 3 now, I've got a 4 because of reflexive, feel that you're going to go straight for that have. Feel you're going to go straight for that. That is honestly in the mind what's going to make a difference. So if I said the boy pleased him, which is an all things done and considered, we'll do a verb first. So up until now I'd have said, he saw me, I'd say give me he saw, then give me he saw me. But do it the way that we're trying to sort of go on at the moment, to the bits and the verbs. So give me the he, me.
Il me.
Good, and then if I'm going to... So this is how the mind would think in French. I did a video on this week. Is basically your mind would go, right, he, me, and then I make my verb decision. Any of my hand gestures, any of my where am I going, any of my re, my ray, ra, ra, your brain doesn't even need to start thinking about those until you've got the people out of the way. Yeah, and that is honestly will get you to fluent faster. So I saw him. Now, let's explain this in a way that's going to make sense to you, Per, and I don't want to talk, I want you to do this.
Is it il m'a vu, by the way?
It is, exactly. Okay, so the point is, you're safe to do this with every single tense. People go, am I safe to do this? Because they're thinking of adverbs, where adverbs sometimes go like bien, manger, manger bien, depending on the crap. But what I'm basically saying is you do this for everything, at speed for you two who are smart. Okay, take your 2 hands. Okay? If I say I prefer to dance, can you scoop those 2 verbs? There's a say I prefer to dance. Say that for me.
Je préfère
danser.
De danser?
Yeah, je préfère danser. Good? Okay.
You don't have to say de danser.
Not in that one. Je préfère danser. Susie, say I want to go.
Je veux aller.
Great, and they're 2 different feelings. If I gave you a colour, one verb is one I want to go. The other one is I prefer to dance. When you've got 2 feelings, if I'm telling you, so what system do we have? We have bits and verbs, and the other one, when I go like that with my hands and like that with my hands, I call it little and...
large.
Yeah, exactly. Well, little and long, little and large, it doesn't matter, yeah? So instead of, now that you're more advanced, instead of saying, right, that means we're going to stick the pronoun before the infinitive, another mental route to it would be to say, get your first verb out of the way. Because by definition, if you're going before the second one, you might as well just say, or go after the first one. Does that make sense? So what this means is at speed, when you feel that you're talking and you don't want to be using English, you somehow know in your brain that you're saying, I hate to tell him, but I hate to tell. You've got 2 proper verbal feelings. Rather than what happens otherwise is, I hate to tell him, and then you have to rearrange it in your head quickly in English, and even if you then go, whatever. So the point is, you will just feel that there's 2 verb actions going on. If instead Susie said, I hated him, or I would have hated him, or I used to hate him, it doesn't matter how many words she's actually saying in her mouth, the colour, the shaded pencil of what she's talking about is the verb hate, just in a different place. Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is, when you've got one shade, I like him, I liked him, I used to like him, I would have liked him, I had liked him, whatever. When you've got this one shade feeling, do the click method, and you're totally safe in any option. Je le aime, je l'aime, je l'aimais, je l'ai aimé, je l'avais aimé, je l'aurais aimé, je l'aurais aimé, que je l'aime, subjunctive. When you feel two colours, get first colour out of the way. Oh, I'd love to love him, but he's an arsehole. J'aimerais, there's love done. L'aime, oh, that's a stupid example. I've used the same verb twice. I'd love to see him. J'aimerais le voir. Does that make sense? It's this two colour feeling. Right. So, cracking on. So the verb of to please, Susie, is plaire. Go along, both of you. Plaire.
Plaire.
Good. The soft is
Plaire.
play. Yeah. Nous plaisons.
Nous plaisons.
Good. Vous.
Plaisez.
Il. Go to the hard. Still there. He's just given you. Il.
Play.
You've heard it from
Oh.
plaisant, plaise. So give me the hard.
Plus.
Good. Yeah, you plaise. Perfect. Okay. Go again. So the three of you. Play.
Play.
Luke the clairvoyant who didn't tell you so. Play. Nous plaisons.
Plaisant.
Vous.
Plaisez.
Il.
Plus.
Good. Plaise.
Plaise.
Think about it. So give me the long form. What's the verb to please?
Plaire.
Good. What letter can we hear in the middle of it?
Ah.
Yeah. So,
Oh.
do you see what I mean? Plaire. What I mean, not in the middle of it. Sorry. What letter can we hear at the end of it? I mean.
Ah.
So traditionally, do we have R as a hard sound?
No.
No, we get rid of it. Lire becomes nous lisons. Good. Dire becomes nous
Disons.
Écrire becomes nous écrivons.
Nous.
We
Yeah,
write.
écrivons.
Good. Okay.
Sorry.
And then from all of those, then we find our hard and we add our a. So give me I was saying. Je dis.
Je disais.
Well done. I was reading.
Je lisais.
I was writing.
J'écrivais.
Good. So at speed, your mind's kind of less and less going, I'm going to the nous to check, but you kind of half go there with your mind. Therefore, what would be the I was pleasing? Not that we actually say that, but how would you say I was pleasing? If the verb is plaire and it's nous plaisons, how would you say I was pleasing? Je
plaisais.
Spot on. So plaire is the verb that we use for objects if the object comes first in the sentence and we're feeling that way inclined. So we can just say that I like in English. We don't need an of which or anything crap. But things to be careful with. If you talk about people, oh Paul, there's a guy you like, the one that's, really cheerful. We'll go and speak to him. He always gives us a bigger portion. Whatever. If you're talking like that about people, like is fine, Emma. Using plaire, it means fancy. So if you say I fancy Paul, you need to pick the object of your affection first, and you need to say Paul pleases me, which has got nothing to do with like Paul is actively working to please me, be it physically or mentally or anything. It just means I fancy him.
She'd never say that anyway. So.
Yeah. Oh, you're a pleaser. You're a worker bee, I'm sure. So say for me. She's like, good God, he isn't. So say for me. When I finish this book, Susie, so say for me, he pleases me. So pause, we're in a situation with somebody in it, so give me the he, me. Just give me the he, me.
Ilma.
Yeah, exactly. Now give me now at that point, only at that point does your mind go, and this will obviously get rapidly, electrically fast, but the point is, only at that point does your mind then go, right, I'm dealing with plaire and I need it in the he form. So il me.
Play.
Spot on, okay? He used to please me. Let's hypothetically go with the same thing. Don't worry about the verb yet. Give me the same people at the beginning. Go on. Used to. Spot on. He pleased me. So we've got pause. Have you felt the action? Yeah, he pleased me. Nice cufflinks. So if you've then got that, so what's the feature I'm trying to push that's going to crop up if you're going in?
Well, I need an auxiliary. So it's...
Good. And let's ditch that now. And let's say we need have, because if we're doing he to me, it's by virtue of the fact it's to someone else. It's going to be a have. Yeah.
Okay. Il m'a plu.
Spot on. I know it sounds so stupid, but just being aware of that will get you there far. Pause. Okay. Don't even think about the verb until we get there. He will please me, Susie. Give me the people.
Ilma.
Now, at that point, then you think of my methods. What's the three sounds for the future?
Ray, wrong.
Ray, ra, wrong, yeah. Which one's he? Ray, ra, or wrong? Which one is it?
Ra.
Good, so give me he will please me. Il me plaire. Add it together. Il me
plaira.
Good, okay. He would please me. What? Do me the he, me.
Il me.
Lovely. It's such a dirty little sentence to be doing all this with, but give me he would please me. He would please me.
Il me pleurait.
Pleurer.
Pleurer.
Pleurer would be cry.
Pleurer, yeah.
Okay. Let's switch verbs for more useful.
A-A-I-T. He.
A-I-T.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's switch verbs. He had hated you. You guys plural. He, you. Do the dum bum.
Ilte.
Plural.
Oh.
Il.
Ilvu.
Now approach the had. So in have, or just without he spoke, we had an auxiliary. We also have an auxiliary, which we're saying is have, in had, haven't we? But what's the theme of our auxiliary in the had tense? It becomes the was. So what's the word going to go next? Il vous.
Avait.
Whatever the verb is. So this is the point that we're just trying, for the rest of the sort of, well, for the rest of your French-speaking lives, this is the, so no time there then. But this is just what we do at speed, okay? Right. Translate for me just to get going for a couple of sentences just so I can push over some grammar stuff and then you will speak freely. 10 minutes ago.
Il y a 10 minutes.
Good, 10 minutes, lovely. I had a problem. Now again, come back to this. Had always makes you go, oh my god, because you think had can be so many things. What if I told you I had a problem, what would you say?
J'avais un problème.
Good. Quick reminder, had on its own is going to be either j'ai eu or j'avais, isn't it? Yeah. Had is its verb in the middle. We think of, we don't even panic about, we've got j'avais in the word. Had on its own, you've just got to make the decision. Am I talking about an action or am I talking about a description or a mental problem? So I had a problem is different from Paul had a sandwich, which would be a kind of an action, okay? Lovely. If you say you had a risotto today, I swear I'll scream. So,
where's that from?
no, if you just went, no, I didn't today. Actually, I'm doing no grains after a holiday, whatever. So, Paul, so say for me. So I had a problem.
J'avais un problème.
Lovely. Now use the compound. I had difficulty understanding. I'm going to need the Arabic sounding word.
Oh.
Mental verb.
Oh my god.
But get the verb out of the way first. So I had.
J'avais
Du mal.
du mal à
Understand.
comprendre.
Comprendre. Now, let's go up another level to really make your brain think in the rhythm of a French person. If we've got j'avais, there's a bit of something, du mal, attached to first colour. Comprendre, can you feel the second colour? So what's our theme with colours? Our theme with colours is get the first colour out of the way. So if I had difficulty understanding him, you of yesteryear would have gone, and that's not to knock you, that's just how we build something up when they're sort of intermediate rather than advanced. When they're advanced, you go, right, okay, so it's going to be, I had difficulty understanding him, so give me the first colour, j'avais du mal, get all that, the first colour out of the way, again.
J'avais du mal à.
Lovely. Understanding him. Le comprendre. Do you understand? It's kind of like, rather than the previous one, which would be little then long, which is fine, but to say little then long, it means before you create the sentence, you're already thinking of the long, which means you're just slowing everything down. Okay, give me, I had difficulty eating them. So remember, the direct is le, la, les, and the indirect is lui, to him, to her, leur, to them. So give me, I had difficulty eating them.
J'avais du mal à les manger.
Brilliant, okay. I had difficulty understanding them.
J'avais du mal à les comprendre.
Because they were speaking too quickly. No, pardon me. They were speaking to me too quickly. Who are the characters? Forget the verb. They were speaking too quickly to me. So, next little idea. You are going to go, right, Luke, because you're quick and you're used to seizing information from language and you're a linguist. So if I said to you at speed, they were talking to me, or they was talking too quickly to me, I dare say you, particularly, would be quite adept at going, il me. You'd feel that, they and me. But before we go any further, imagine you've got an imaginary beach ball. Separate your language and your ideas. So we're just in the idea, the feeling, rather than the language. Imagine you've got the beach ball. There's a load of people on the beach. Personally, the idea of throwing a ball on a beach I find absolutely vile. Like, really, it's just so the last thing I would want to do. But let's just imagine let's have that moment of solidarity between us. And let's just say that you've got this beach ball and you've got it, so you know where it's starting, and you need to choose where it's going to go before you do the action of throwing it. Otherwise, you'd just be like, nah, okay? And it'd be like secondary school all over again, and I won't get chosen. Actually, I lie, I was good at sport. But the fact is, I just didn't like other people. So the fact is, your mind has got to go. I'm speaking to them. Who's doing the verb? Didn't you get picked? No,
I never got picked, but I don't.
Yeah, oh, they wanted me, all right. I just didn't want to go and be with them. I really didn't.
That's such a Luke.
I got a letter home saying you were picked for the first team for football. Oh no, I just don't want to do it. Right. So the fact is, your mind has got to go. I'm speaking to them. Who's doing the verb? Didn't you get picked? No,
I never
go
got
with
picked,
them.
but I don't.
Yeah, they wanted me, all right. I just didn't want to go and be with them. I really didn't.
That's such a Luke.
I got a letter home saying you were picked for the first team for football. Oh no, I just don't want to do it. Right. So who's got the football? So I'm speaking to them. So give me the I.
Je.
To them.
Le.
To them.
Oh.
Le.
Le.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, Susie. Now my verb speak. So I speak to them, for example. Je leur.
Parle.
Great. Parle. Great. Okay, so it's just that to bear in mind. Good. Susie, translate. Luke's just arrived. Luke's come from arriving.
Luc vient d'arriver
Good. Here.
ici.
And he's telling us who's got the ball. Where's it going? He. Tell. Go and he's telling us.
Il nous
Yes.
dit
Good. What he wants us to do. What is a non-question?
ce que
Well done. He wants us to do.
il veut. No.
Now, pause. This is what your French mind should be thinking. Your French mind should be thinking, Luke's doing some wanting. So in terms of colour here, we have got two colours. Wanting, doing. We've got two colours. Two different people are doing those different colours. And we've got a cut in the middle. So that means be on the lookout for a what?
Subjunctive?
Yes. So thinking the colour. This is all about feeling where we're going without the English. This is the kind of theme. So he wants.
Il veut.
In the middle.
Que.
Lovely. We do. Subjunctive nous fasse.
Façon.
Subjunctive ending nous fasse.
Fashion.
Well done. Okay. Because
Parce que
our level is more elevated. Our level is higher.
notre niveau
Well done is more elevated.
est plus élevé.
Well done. I'm stressing elevated rather than saying higher, which would be plus haut, which would be kind of physically higher. Okay. You can use it.
Plus ou plus.
Good. So it's annoying because more high, by definition, higher feels like more of something. So you're thinking, oh, Luke's told me more of something means more of the word. But think about it like when it comes to the word de. So plus de, whatever. If it's with an adjective, it works normally. Yeah. More elevated, plus élevé or whatever. Okay, just linked, plus élevé. Okay, good. And my husband and I.
Et mon mari et moi.
Poetry past. We said to ourselves. Poetry.
Nous
Je me suis, tu t'es, il s'est, nous
sommes dit.
Well done. And notice with that, we've actually done the same method. We've done the person, the there, the auxiliary, and the past. We just didn't think about it because we did a method, okay? I mean, you actually get to the point where you are better at reflexive verbs in the past for a while than normal verbs in the past because you've got a system. We said to ourselves,
Nous sommes dit.
what are we going to do? They've closed our hotel. What
Okay.
action with a verb? Qu'est-ce que supposed to kill because it's with the verbal action. What are we going to do?
Qu'est-ce que nous
We are going to do. Nous
allons faire?
Because
Parce que
they've closed our hotel. Action, they've closed. Actually, you don't even need the action because you can hear they've closed, which tells you the presence of the auxiliary. They've closed our hotel.
il a fermé.
They. Now, pause. Half of me is telling you, no, everything's what you're doing is right, but half of me is telling you, go with gut, go with mental. That's the wrong word. Go with kind of like what comes out of your brain. But equally, il is going to. What's il going to throw out? It's going to throw out il a. It's going to throw out the singular, which would be completely right. So what Susie's bright mind went il for they, but it sounded like an il, and her muscle memory mouth correctly went il a. But when we're talking about they, we've got another muscle memory option. So what's they closed? Ils. Good. It's just that we're trying to release, but at the same time, yeah. So they closed.
Ils ont fermé
The hotel that we had reserved.
l'hôtel qui nous avons.
The hotel that we reserved, so not qui, l'hôtel.
Que
Lovely, well done.
nous avons réservé.
We had reserved, nous
Nous avons.
nous Animal wish you
Avion,
were.
nous
Well
avions.
done. Lovely. Okay.
Present.
It's annoy. Pause. It annoys us. Forget annoy. It's to us.
Ça nous
Zan.
énerve.
Annoys, present tense.
Énervons. Énerve.
Good. And again.
Ça nous énerve.
That annoyed action us. Find the have. Give me the people at the beginning. Some.
Ça nous avions
Pause.
avec.
Basic have. Basic have.
Ça nous a énervé.
Good. Now let's knock this.
Ça nous a énervé.
Spot on. Spot on. Now think about it like this. I'm going to play a game of process of elimination with you. If you're using a nous at the beginning of your sentence, your brain just kind of remembers that there's a nous there, and it kind of finds the avant. If you use a vous, it kind of finds the ave. If you use an il, they, you kind of feel the thickness of the they in your mind, and you think il, more, on. You go to the on. Okay. Most of the time, these constructions are going to be an a. Yeah, most of the time it just tends to be. Okay, because when you're thinking, I'm like, George saw me. George it'll be the singular form. Who saw me? What saw me? That saw me. Any of these singular grammatical ideas all tend to be like third person singular. The only one you've got to be a little bit faster with is Susie. How do you say I have?
J'ai.
Lovely. And we never ever separate that. We never ever use have on its own. So if I gave you easily, if I said now Luke has spoken, what would you say without even any problem?
Luc a parlé.
Because you're comfortable going with the have form in the third person. Because you can say he has and Luke has. I've made that point before. If you say I have, you never ever ever give me another word. Another word? Who am I? Freaking Count Dracula? The Count of Sesame Street. You never ever I want to suck your blood. You never ever give me another word other than the je, do you? You never say, oh, Luke wants to, because the grammatical word for that is a twat, that you'd be referring to yourself in the third person, and B, if you were going to do it in your third person, like motivationally, you'd be imperatively talking to yourself as a you. Come on, Lukey, you can do it. So you would never ever swap je for anything. So we're not used in English or in French, although it doesn't matter so much in English because I have, it's not a particularly rare auxiliary. So the point is, j'ai, we never ever ever use the a without the je. But I'm now asking you to at speed because you've gone, I saw you. It's just remembering that a floats on its own a little bit. Does that make sense? And once you've got that, so what I'm saying is the ones you're going to need at panic are either going to be a auxiliary in the middle, a auxiliary in the middle, or en auxiliary in the middle. Okay, good. I saw her. Give me the I her.
Je la.
And saw. Give me the.
Je la vu.
What's floating in the middle for I?
Je l'ai vu.
Now this sounds really dumb, and you get this because you're smart. Can you see how I'm trying to get you? I dare say it's even slower. If I asked you to say I saw her, the pair of you at lightning speed could go j'ai vu, and then could instantly go je l'ai vu and stick it in again. You could do that. I'm just asking you to go a little bit more slowly for like a week, just to get into doing it the French way. Does that make sense? Okay. And like I said, this works for any verb unless you've got two colours. Yeah. He's going to see her. Go is a colour. Il va la voir. Okay. Good. But Luke.
Mais Luc.
Lovely. We want to tell you about our holiday. We want tell, two colour verbs, so you can get verb colour out the one out the way before you use anything else. We want.
On veut.
Lovely. To tell you.
On veut dire.
To tell you.
To dire.
On veut to dire. Does that sound right? On veut.
To dire.
Spot on. Yep. Good, because we had a second colour.
So second colour. Yeah. On veut to dire.
Do you know what I mean by this colour business? It's just rather than hearing in your mind. I mean, I dare say there's a possible slight shadow if we want to tell you, but. Even if it's brief, it's just rather than we want to it's just obsessing less with the English. Good. So we want to tell you.
On veut te dire.
Lovely. We want to tell you using the verb raconter.
On veut te raconter.
Second
raconter.
Verb. Lovely. Okay. What happened?
Ce que.
Now remember when there's a new character we use ce que, when there's no new character. What happened? So what do we don't say ce que, we say ce
qui se passe.
Happened, action, so it's going to need an auxiliary. Ce qui
s'est passé.
Well done. Do that again for me.
Qui s'est passé.
Ce qui s'est passé.
Ce qui s'est passé.
The pair of you just get that in your muscle memory. Ce qui s'est passé.
Ce qui s'est passé.
Ce qui s'est passé.
Ce qui s'est passé.
What was happening? Ce qui se passait.
Ce qui se... Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Or ce qui s'est passé. Or ce qui s'était passé. Okay. Whilst we were on holiday.
Lorsque... Nous sommes en vacances.
We were.
Oh, nous étions
Lovely.
en vacances.
Okay, it's funny.
C'est amusant.
Good. Right, now we're going to talk normally. I'm going to ask you questions. Remember what's the cheat guide for questions, especially when you want to kind of do that whole I'm panicking bit in French, what's going on. Remember to use as much of the question word as possible. In normal questioning, we don't. Have you been with them for long? It was actually my graduate job. I went there after university. I did my my legal practice course. We don't tend to go, yes, I have been with them for long, but it's just a nice thing to get into the habit of in French because it means you respect the verb that someone's giving you, and it's just a really clever thing to get into the habit of doing, okay? So if in doubt. Also, it just impresses them because you're using a lot of their vocabulary, and like I said, the pair of you for work and you because, it would just be something you'd enjoy. You need to do the exams. No, but you know what I mean. You should.
It's like a
No,
nerd.
you'd be good. You'd be proud of you. I'd love. My dream is for you both to have a C2 certificate on the wall. Maybe not on the wall. Maybe a bit too much. But the fact is, in exams it works really well already. Okay, good. So, je vais commencer avec toi. Donc, dis-moi quelque chose. Ok, est-ce que ça s'est bien passé? So, next mental idea. We're talking about mental ideas today. If I'm saying ça s'est bien passé, what did I just say? Ça s'est bien passé. What did I say?
Has that gone well?
Great. Am I talking about you? No. So you don't need to convert anything. Est-ce que tu es content? Oui, je suis content. Est-ce que je peux venir? Oui, tu peux venir. So there's none of the normal interchange that needs to go on between the first and the second person. If I said to you, est-ce que Suzy est content? Now this sounds so blinkingly obvious, but the fact is, if you're talking about a third person, it's just that comfort that knowing you haven't got to change anything. Because ça to you will be ça to me. Susie to you, I mean, you might say ma chère femme, and I might say la belle Susie, but the fact is, like generally, it's third personage. We're not going to change it. Does that make sense? Nor is the verb going to change. So it's just this dumb, obvious idea that if we're talking about something else, just in your copy-paste vibe, you don't have to be thinking, oh, je, tu, yeah, okay. Donc, est-ce que, and also, tone of voices go up. We need to almost repeat the conversation back because you're going to confirm it. So tone of voice is asking the question, more so than a question with an interrogative. So you can just repeat it and give me the appropriate tone of voice. Ça s'est bien passé? Oui. Okay. So, ça s'est bien passé?
Oui, ça
s'est bien
passé.
Okay. Ça s'est bien passé? Do it again. Oui.
Oui, ça s'est bien passé.
Okay. Où est-ce que vous étiez en vacances? Où est-ce que vous étiez en vacances?
Nous étions en vacances à... Well, Folegandros, l'île de Folegandros et l'île de Santorini.
Okay. Ces îles, these islands, are part of quel pays?
Le grec.
La Grèce.
La Grèce.
Okay. Quick revise on Greece. Right. 3 words. So fat is right. Fat as in a human adjective is gros. Give me the feminine, gros. Okay.
Gross.
Give me the terribly non-PC. Give me the word for fatty, which is also greasy. Gras.
Gras.
Give me the feminine, Susie.
Gris.
You'd never buy a product like that. You've got beautiful skin. But if you had greasy skin, gras becomes... So gros becomes gros, gras becomes...
Grass.
Good. So say them again. Gros becomes...
Gross.
Gross.
Gras becomes...
Gras.
Lovely. Greece, the country, la Grèce. G-R-E-C-E. Fat is la Grèce, the Greece. Okay. Foie gras, greasy liver. Yeah, the stuff that you... Okay. So, or one might not. Faux gras, the stuff they sell, which is like... It's not great. Okay, so then within that, we've got matière grasse, which is greasy matter. So when you talk about fat, you need to reduce the amount of fat in your meal. Rubbish, you need to reduce the amount of sugar. Fat's great. La graisse is fat, okay? So then we have, in food, we have la matière grasse. So we either have fat or greasy matter. So there's loads of words for fat in French. There's more words for fat in French than there are for food, which I think is kind of quite telling. Good. So we were on holiday.
On...
We were on
On était en.
On
On était. On était en vacances.
In Greece.
Would you say dans
En Grèce is fat. Okay. So then we have in food we have la matière grasse. So we either have fat or greasy matter. So there's loads of words for fat in French. There's more words for fat in French than there are for food, which I think is kind of quite telling. Good. So we were on holiday. We were on it.
On était en.
On
était en vacances.
In Greece.
Would you say dans
Grèce.
En Grèce?
Okay.
Not on like it's not like
No,
you don't. It's say,
well done for thinking about the article, but that's just for like whatever. Okay.
En Grèce.
Different situations. Like Greece is la Grèce est whatever. Okay. Okay. Est-ce que il faisait chaud? Est-ce qu'il faisait chaud?
Oui, il faisait très chaud.
Est-ce que tu as mis beaucoup de crème? Parce que je vois que tu as un peu de couleur, mais tu n'es pas brûlé.
Oui, nous avons... Vous avez vu ça?
But weirdly, you understood me. So, est-ce que vous avez mis un peu de crème? Yeah, yeah.
Oui, nous avons
Copy it because you heard it.
mis
Yeah, nous avons mis, oui.
beaucoup de crème
Ok.
parce que tu nous dis...
So you, you told us. So give me the you to us. So tu nous,
Tu nous...
and if we're going into the told, basically the simplest mind idea in English is the most complicated one in French. The simplest one needs a have. So tu nous,
avons...
tu nous, and again that was a very very well illustrated point. Why did Susie's mouth say tu nous avons? Because her mouth, muscle memory, is used to go. The weirdest thing to say. Susie say we hate using the verb détester. Nous.
Nous détestons.
So we hate you plural. We you nous.
Nous vous
Lovely.
détestons.
Good. Say you hate us. You plural hate us.
you plural.
You plural hate us.
Vous nous détestez.
Yeah, it's just that thing that you're used to going. Yeah. Okay. Lovely. Okay. Excellent. Parce que tu nous as dit. Est-ce que tu as acheté beaucoup de cadeaux? Ou est-ce que tu as dit non? Nous allons envoyer une seule carte postale et ça suffit.
Nous n'avons pas acheté beaucoup de cadeaux,
Très bien.
mais nous avons
Envoyé, très bien.
une carte postale pour le chat.
Pour le chat. Okay. Parce que Gus, il est mâle. Donc un chat. Pas une chatte. Which is also, pardon me being vulgar, chat, whilst it does mean feminine, cat is also the don't and go-to word for pussy. So we don't kind of...
Interesting.
So you wouldn't send one of those from Greece. Although they are pussies when it comes to taxation. So, yeah. Est-ce que vous avez bien mangé, Suzy? Est-ce que vous avez essayé, est-ce que vous avez dégusté les plats locaux?
Oui, nous avons dégusté
Well absorbed, tried, food word, dégustation, dégusté, très bien, yeah, okay.
les plats locaux.
Les plats masculins, les plats locaux. Well done. Notice how, because Susie got everything else in the sentence and she felt it, the only change, the only thing that was a bit, oh, here we go, what's this? Was dégusté, and then you were free to absorb it. This is what I mean about getting the rhythm and then you just are free to copy. And no one's any the wiser. They're none the wiser that you didn't necessarily know that verb. Do you know what I mean? You've made that connection between, oh, was that the word for trying food on holiday? All right, fine, okay. Yeah. Oui, donc les plats locaux.
Beaucoup de poissons.
Beaucoup de poissons.
Pour la manger tout le jour. L'octopus.
Pieuvre. Oui,
Oui.
c'est une bonne source de protéines.
Bon, peut-être, mais c'est...
Say, I didn't eat it for the protein. Pause, I didn't eat, it might be negative, but we're not thinking of the nut, are we? Because with this method, we're not worrying about the nut. Because to be strictly honest with you, if you're doing this method, the no will come in between the clicks. You know. So what I'm saying is, forget that because you're just going to put Pat where it needs to go. But the fact is, I ate, I didn't eat. Are we in one colour or two colours?
One moment.
One, exactly. Even though we've got a have doesn't count as a colour. Have is an auxiliary, okay? Negative doesn't count as a colour change, yeah? So my point is, when I've got one colour, what I mean is we can do this, and then get to the whatever's going on with the negative or whatever's going on with the verb. That's the mental thing I'm trying to get you to do. So I ate it every day, so I need I in it.
Je le mangeais.
No, pause. Now I ate, so I'm going to have what comes in the middle for
Je l'ai mangé.
Lovely, okay? Every day.
Toujours.
Tous les jours, okay? Good, okay. Give me I didn't eat it for the protein. So give me, again, I didn't eat it, one colour,
Je l'ai pas mangé.
Well done. And then naturally, having gone je l'ai, then you've got the little breather in your mind to drop in the help me out, the adverb. Thank you, je l'ai pas mangé. You can help children like Luke by ringing this number with a donation. Esther and Terry will kind of... yeah, so je l'ai pas mangé pour la protéine.
Pour la protéine.
Give me, it was a question of taste.
C'était une question...
C'était une question...
Une question
de goût.
De goût.
Good. Give me the verb that comes from goût.
Goûter.
Spot on, okay?
Une question de goût.
Now, notice when you do something for yourself, it's the same as doing something to yourself. So how do you say we got married? So we married ourselves, in other words. Nous
sommes mariés.
Okay? We bought ourselves. Nous
sommes...
Yeah. So anything for somebody will also be that same thing. Anything for will also use those pronouns. Can I remind you? Wow, if you need to take it, don't worry.
It's your dad. Don't know
it's my dad.
Yeah. Hang on.
My dad never rings me.
He never rings me.
Do you want to
Let me just check what it says.
Yeah, let me just check.
Over to Susie. So
Sorry about
Paul, no, that's right. Paul had. So this is now an action. Paul had.
Paul avait... no.
Now remember. This time, although we're saying had, it's an action. Paul had a phone call. I do apologise. I didn't tell you what came next, so that would have been difficult. So it could have been avait. Paul had a phone call. Paul had a call. Paul had. I need now have is an auxiliary. Paul a, and then I need the verb in the past. Paul a. Good. A call.
Appelé.
Un appel.
Un appel.
From his parents.
De.
Can I just check? Would you always say you wouldn't say you've taken a call, like appris.
You could have used a variety of verbs. Paul a reçu. Paul a pris un appel. Paul a été contacté. Yeah, all
so they are take works in that way.
J'ai pris un appel. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Fine. Yeah,
So,
okay. Paul a pris un appel. Paul a eu un appel. Lovely.
Paul a eu un appel de son...
More than one parent.
Ses
Parents.
parents.
Okay. Because they wanted to know. Mental verb. They wanted to know.
Parce que il
Verb vouloir. They wanted.
voulait...
Well done. Because you've gone was. They wanted to know.
Il voulait... oh my gosh. Savoir.
Great. Well done. Two colours. So hypothetically, if it were they wanted to know it, although that'd be more likely to be they wanted to be familiar with it, the other verb, connaître, then the point would be il voulait la, if it was a town, connaître. Do you see what I mean about wedging the stuff between the two colours? Yeah. Okay, they wanted to know.
Il voulait savoir
Lovely. Something to do with. Something to...
quelque chose.
Why am I pointing to my eyes? Because it's not do in French. In English, it's something to see with. Yeah, okay? You can see the connection between the two things. Nothing to do with that. Rien à voir. Okay, so to do with is to see with. So something to do with quelque chose à
voir
with
avec
their tickets. Leur billet. Because I imagine they're going to come here.
Parce que j'imagine.
Lovely. They're going to... Now, let's say we're going to use E for there. Let's say they're going somewhere else. Two colours. They're going... And I'm going to give you an identical colour, but a second colour. They're going to go there. So where do we stick the pronoun? We wedge it between the two colours. Give me they're going to go there. Off you go.
Ils vont.
Lovely. There. The sneaky. Good at the end of the sentence, but what's the sneaky one that means there? Ils vont. Letter Y on its own. Yeah. Second colour go.
Allez.
Good. Second colour will be in what format?
Infinitive.
Good. Notice we can have three colours. Je veux. Susie wants to be able to come, but she's got a meeting at work. Susie veut, first colour. Pouvoir, venir. We can have four colours. Susie veut pouvoir essayer de continuer à venir. Notice wherever you have a little doodah word will always go before the last colour, because the last colour means the one that you're thinking of, which means the most interesting. I want to do it. Je veux le faire. Je veux essayer de le faire. Je veux pouvoir continuer à essayer de le faire. So the colour will, it's just when we're talking about this two colours thing, I don't want to limit you. Okay? Excellent. Mais j'ai beaucoup aimé leur voix. Ils ont les voix très charmantes. Et j'aime bien les couples qui fonctionnent comme un couple. Je trouve ça amusant, je trouve ça mignon. Vous êtes individuellement les individus. Vous êtes les gens très capables. Vous avez tous les deux les carrières. Vous êtes au niveau intellectuel très capables quand vous n'êtes pas ensemble. Et quand vous fonctionnez ensemble, c'est pour vous aider, c'est pour vous soutenir. Mais vous n'avez pas besoin de fonctionner comme un couple. Avec l'âge et avec la différence culturelle avec les générations, certaines personnes fonctionnent comme un couple. Daddy, you call them and then I'll take the call. Tu comprends, c'est un peu comme ça. Donc, I'm passing you mom. Do you know what I mean? It's like, pourquoi? Si maman voulait me parler, pourquoi est-ce que maman ne m'a pas contacté? Mais c'est comme ça. Très bien. Excellent. Paul, dis-moi la meilleure chose. Quelle était la meilleure chose de toutes les vacances? Quelle était la chose qui t'a vraiment plu? The thing which really pleased you. Quel était ton souvenir préféré?
Mon souvenir préféré.
Très bien. You keep copying and pasting. I love it.
Était la piscine de
Pourquoi?
l'hôtel qui s'appelle Anémie,
Okay.
dans l'île de Foligandros.
Pourquoi est-ce que tu as aimé la piscine?
Parce que pendant les jours
Oui.
que nous avons resté,
Nous sommes restés.
nous sommes restés pendant
Isn't it the
ouais.
worst excuse for an extrovert? I mean, you don't do anything, do you? Do you know what I mean? But lorsque nous étions là, ou pendant les jours quand nous sommes restés là, oui, ou que nous avons passé là, oui, ok.
Près de la piscine,
Très bien.
nous avons eu l'option, the chance, the opportunity, l'opportunité,
Lovely. L'occasion de...
l'occasion de lire beaucoup de journaux,
de journaux. Très bien, oui.
et
De vous détendre, de vous reposer.
oui,
Pause. If I gave you détendre and reposer, which both mean relax, one strictly means like a little bit more intense, the other one means like relax. So say those verbs with me. Détendre, reposer. There are things you do to yourself. Say I relaxed, poetry past.
Je me suis reposé.
Good. The verb is détendre. Susie, give me I relaxed using détendre.
Je me suis détendu.
Spot on. And a nicely pronounced word as well. So poetry past, okay? Ok, donc c'était vraiment l'objectif des vacances. C'était pourquoi vous étiez là. C'était
Exactement, oui.
Pour pouvoir vous détendre, ok? Excellent. Est-ce que vous avez rencontré les gens? Parce que pour moi, j'ai horreur des vacances parce que je suis trop grégaire. J'aime bien tout le monde. Et tout le monde dit toujours, oh, there's a man here who's been here before, or he's been into town and he knows everybody. Oh, Luke's going to take us to the old town tomorrow. Is he? But that always happens. So, est-ce que vous vous êtes fait quelques amis? Did you make any holiday friends? Ooh.
Non.
Parce que Suzy comprend.
You can.
Oui, Suzy, réponds à la question. Est-ce que quelqu'un a essayé de vous parler près de la piscine?
Non. toutes les personnes
pouvaient lire ton expression. tu lisais ton bouquin comme ça.
Oui, the staff,
Le personnel.
le personnel.
Pause, do you remember the lesson when we talked about going round it quickly? If you didn't know staff, what are staff? People who work there. Yeah, les personnes qui travaillent là, okay, yeah.
Nous s'appellent.
The staff called us. Okay, pause. This is what happens with everybody with this verb, because you hear il s'appelle more than you hear anything else. But how would you say I'm called? Je m- So s'appelle is the reflexive bit. So the verb on its own is
Appelle.
great. So the staff called us. Now again, this is your choice. Are you sticking the have of an action in, or are you going to go more than one occasion the staff while we were there the staff called us? Because this is a really dumb point. Notice that used to and the was are interchangeable, even in English. The was tense in French. So if I said, Paul used to play the piano for his grandmother when he was little. Paul played the piano for his grandmother when he was little. Now that played in English also serves as the sort of action part that we would translate with the passé composé. So the point is, if you had, the staff called us, often when translating in your mind, although we're trying to get you out of English, and it's really easy to get out of English as quickly as possible, even though you don't have full French vocabulary, it's really easy to do it. The point is, you'll have a half shadow of the staff called, which is annoying because then you're hearing like Luke spoke and you're feeling all these haves come up, so it's just to be aware of that, that called is on more than one occasion it would tend to be the staff were calling us, the staff used to call us, okay. So, and it's not an action, it's not a one-off thing. So and like I said, Columbus went to America. It isn't how long it took, it isn't how long ago it happened, it's the fact that language-wise you are referring to it with absolutely zero freaking interest. Columbus went to America. Done. Yeah, Columbus bought a Toblerone, he missed his mom, he wrote a postcard, and then he went to America, or something like that. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. So,
Luke's alternative history.
what did you say? No, but do you know what I mean, Columbus?
Yeah, and that's when you use the passé composé.
Yeah.
But where you care more, that's your imperfect.
Because why do you care more? Because you're bringing it up to talk about it. And the other idea to go with is, I know it sounds dumb, but it's just we're really trying to knock you up from intermediate to advanced sort of thing. And it's like, if you can list something, it's passé composé. Susie saw the cool dress. She thought, that's a wicked colour. I really like the battleship blue against the vintage pink. I like it. I'm going to buy it. She saw the dress. She bought it. She liked the colour. Well, I suppose that could possibly be this, although it depends on that one. You could say both. She saw the dress. She liked it. She bought it. She went to the till. She paid with a card. She remembered she had a store card. They then awarded her the points, whatever. Okay, it's a series of things that when you then use that, it sounds like one happened after the other. If you don't feel it like that, then you're layering. It was raining. Yeah, the weather was dark. Yeah, Paul was tired. It sounds like all these things are happening at the same time. So that's just another way of thinking about it. Good, excellent. Suzy, pour toi, quel était le meilleur moment? Quel était le meilleur moment de tes vacances?
Le meilleur moment de
Oh, sorry, my
Pendant-
legs are so fucking long.
nos vacances
Oui, très bien.
était les jours qu'on
Très bien.
nous avons beaucoup lu.
Très bien, tout est parfait. On peut aussi dire les jours où, like on the timeline, the days where. Mais oui, les jours quand nous avons beaucoup lu, oui. Ok.
J'ai lu 5 livres.
5 livres. Est-ce que vous lisez les mêmes bouquins, les mêmes livres? Est-ce que vous vous êtes échangé de livres? Est-ce que vous avez échangé un peu vos livres?
Un peu. Mais je préfère...
Qu'est-ce que tu préfères normalement comme
l'histoire.
genre? Can I remind you that question? What kind of yada yada? Be allergic to that as a format. Be allergic to that. Quelle sorte de... It exists, it's fine. But much more French is qu'est-ce que vous aimez comme genre? What do you like as? So what kind of job does Paul do? We could go qu'est-ce qu'il fait comme travail? Yeah, it's just a really nice... Oh, what kind of flavours have you got in a restaurant? If the word for flavour is parfum, ask me the question. I'm selling ice cream. Ask me what flavours I've got.
Vous avez
So what do you have?
Qu'est-ce que vous avez?
Yeah.
Comme
parfum.
parfum.
Now your method works, but you have to still use what? Vous avez quoi comme parfum? You still need a what? Yeah. Vous avez quoi comme parfum? Oui. Donc le meilleur moment pour toi, c'était quoi, pardon, Suzy?
Le meilleur moment pour moi,
C'était quand vous avez
avez
lu. Oui. Et comme genre, tu aimes?
L'histoire.
Ok.
Et pour
Mais toujours la fiction?
oui,
Ou-
toujours
ok.
la fiction,
Ok.
mais pour préférer la biographie,
Ok.
et le livre politique.
Près de la piscine en Grèce, pourquoi pas?
Oui.
Ok.
Qu'est-ce qu'on dit? Mystery.
Le mystère.
Le mystère.
Ok, yeah.
Oui, j'ai...
On dit les livres de poche, like pocket books, which is not like a pocket book like an American pocket book. It means like they always tend to be yellow paged murder mysteries in France, kind of that kind of thing. Livre de poche just means like a little, like it's like an adult version of Ladybird books, but just kind of like for horror and gore, but not up to your kind of Karen Slaughter pretty covers and all that. Traditionally, book covers in France are always white. I don't know if you've been in been to South Ken, have you been to Librairie La Page?
No.
Really cute. Next time you're down that way, there's a cute little, really cute bookshop. Or it's not as exclusively French in feel, because it's obviously all international. Mais il y a une librairie, je pense que ça s'appelle Grant and Cutler, qui se trouve derrière Marks and Spencer's, mais le grand Marks and Spencer's sur Oxford Street. Donc, il y a Oxford Street même, et il y a une rue parallèle derrière, et en fait, vous pouvez traverser Marks and Spencer's et descendre, et derrière, il y a une librairie qui vend les bouquins de plusieurs pays. C'est une librairie internationale. Ça, c'est Grant and Cutler, si je ne me trompe pas. Mais maintenant, comme la majorité de ces choses, the books are sold. Quick reminder, et en fait, vous pouvez traverser Marks and Spencer's et descendre, et derrière, il y a une librairie qui vend les bouquins de plusieurs pays. C'est une librairie internationale. Ça, c'est Grant and Cutler, si je ne me trompe pas. Mais maintenant, comme la majorité de ces choses, the books are sold. Quick reminder of this thing, when something... So, here's the clues in English, here's the clues not in English. If your passive involves the verb to be, and then a verb, you use "se" and the tense of the verb. So, for example, Coke is sold in vending machines, whatever, would be Coke sells itself in vending machines. French will be spoken means French will speak itself. Yeah? That was used, that used itself, ça s'utilisait. That is not just a choice, it is by far the preferable method. So, if you're talking to a client in French, you say, oui, bien sûr, vous pouvez venir pour parler avec les gens qui travaillent ici. En général, on se parle en français ou on se parle en anglais. Ok. Luc, la raison pourquoi je voulais apprendre le français, c'est parce qu'en général, à cause de moi, l'anglais s'utilise, ou ils utilisent l'anglais, ou l'anglais se parle, English is spoken, pour que je puisse comprendre. Mais j'aimerais bien faire partie de la conversation. Ok? Give me nothing to do with, rien à
voir.
Good, okay. Susie, I have difficulty understanding. J'ai du
mal à comprendre.
I actually hate the neuro-linguistic programming of teaching somebody that sentence. That's like Steve, my housemate, can say like dwi ddim yn siarad Cymraeg, which is like I don't speak Welsh. I'm like, the fact that you've gone to the effort to learn such a kind of door-closing thing. Good. So, to knock us up a little level for next week, okay, I'm going to ask you to talk consistently, solidly, each for about 6 to 7 minutes on a topic of your choice, okay? I don't want it to be like an essay. I want you to, if possible, give yourself buzzwords which will then make you think about something, if that's just possible. It's just about the brain training of what we're doing, rather than like prepping the whole thing. So what I strongly advise, and what normally works well with this, is if you talk about a memory, rather than like an opinion, or unless it's something you've got loads of opinions about. So if you basically say, when I went to school, there was a girl called Rebecca. She did this. Now she's married. Now she's got 2 kids. Whatever. Obviously, don't go through everybody's marital and child status because we're pretty much using the same vocabulary. Whatever. Or this chap is now. So just think of like a group you belong to. That's an interesting group of characters or something, and you're just going to talk about and describe those people. So when I say I'm not forcing you to do this, it's a really good one because it basically, for the first time we do this, and then the next week after this we will do it on much more key niche vocabulary, which will be a business thing, so there's going to be like a little bit more into that. But just to do it for the first time, it's just so you talk, and also it tends to be the stuff when you're describing other people's lives, what other people are going to use in French to describe their lives to you, because no one's drastically that different. Do you know what I mean? It's not like, oh, my cousin Rebecca's an assassin, or something like that. Or I went to a very good girls' grammar school where we were all taught to throw Death Stars.
What the hell goes on in your head? Seriously?
LSD damaged and altered me. It really did. So